What is going on, YouTube, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Will. You can call me Burm. That's what my brother's calling me. And you can call him Tom Hanks. He's always here with us in spirit and in support. He's kind of physically with us. At least his eyes are. They follow me around the room. This video is a little different than what I've been posting. I don't know, it's a very new channel, so I'm not entirely sure what's been posted yet, to be perfectly honest. I think just Let's Plays so far. So I think this is the first one that's not a Let's Play. It is actually going to be a Draft League draft recap video for NEBLA, which stands for the Northeastern Battle League of America. It is a draft league that I am the commissioner of, along with it consists of like my brothers and my friends and my brother's friends and friends of friends, because this is the biggest we've ever been. This season is our third season. There's now 16 people in it, and in the past 2 seasons, the Central Park Sceptiles, that's my team, did come out victorious, and you'll notice that I am wearing both green for the Sceptiles and Eagles, just for a little bit of a good omen in terms of bringing home another championship for the Sceptiles. That being said, it's a total fun league. We don't play for anything. There's no money involved or anything like that. It's also not a league that you can watch anything of. You never have been able to in the past. Now the only thing you're really going to be able to watch is my I'm going to try to record myself every battle, whether it's a post commentary or a live commentary, with like a team builder like right before the. I'm not going to do separate team builder videos, I don't think. And yeah, I'm just going to do that to like get myself more in the mindset of competitive Pokemon. Not really for the views, but if people are enjoying watching it, then that's great. And if you're enjoying watching this video, it's a very early time in this channel. I just started it, so I really appreciate you checking this out. And I really appreciate the view, the like, the comment, the subscribe. If you can do any of those things, I definitely still just appreciate the view, though. Anything helps, so thank you very much. Let's, well, what I was going to say, NEBLA it consists of a very wide range of Pokemon skill sets. There's people who don't play a ton of competitive Pokemon. There's people who have learned so much in competitive Pokemon since we started. Our first season was a little over a year ago. So there's people who have like come so far since then, and that's really cool. That being said, it is just for fun. I'm not now going into drafts. I'm not going in thinking I want the best of the best Pokemon. I kind of just want to go in grabbing Pokemon that I want to use, who are also good, but with like a strategy in mind. I kind of want to try different stuff, and that's definitely what I got out of this draft. I don't really use any of these Pokemon, which is exciting and also a little scary. And I definitely feel good about a lot of my team, and I definitely feel kind of wonky about a lot of my team. So, is this a good idea to be posting this video when all of the people in the league can see it? And I can't see any of their strategies? No, it's not a good idea. Is it a little cocky that I'm doing it? Yeah, it is a little cocky. But it's all just for practice for me, and like I said, it's a fun league. So it really doesn't matter if people are getting sets or whatever from it. Nobody will ever get a set before I battle them when I'm prepping for their team, if that makes sense. So as long as that's the case, I'm cool with it, and it'll be fun. I'm 4 minutes in. Let's get into this draft because I definitely have a lot of to talk about with it. We basically run off of the GBA rules, whatever the current season is. At least with this season, we just started doing that. So GBA Season 8, I think, is what just happened. And that's what we went based off of. We used their same-exact tiers. We used their same-exact draft system with the points. I'm not going to explain all of that. If you don't know what that is, it's not really going to matter because the draft happens and then it's gone, and it doesn't really matter what anything costs. Basically, we had points and we spent the points and we had to get certain tiers of Pokemon and blah, blah, blah. That's not going to matter. Just know that if you don't watch draft Pokemon videos, draft league format videos, you can't just draft a team of all-stars. You got to draft from like different skill levels, and that's what makes it fun. You're using Pokemon that wouldn't usually be used in OU. That's a Smogon tier. If you don't know that much, then God bless you for watching this video, honestly. Because I don't know who you are, but I like you. I like you for clicking on my video. Anyway, moving on right into our round 1 pick. Well, I'll say this really quick before I say the round 1 pick, is just that when I draft for versatility. That is my number 1. I think that is the biggest asset to a draft league team. You want your opponent to have to guess the entire time. You don't want them to know what kind of set you're supposed to be running. You don't want them to be able to anticipate that Pokemon's going to be physical, that Pokemon's going to be bulky. Obviously, you can't avoid that for some Pokemon, obviously. But if you can get versatile Pokemon, to me, that is the most important thing. So you can just surprise everybody. So that's what I'm looking at going into this draft. I'm also going into the draft with a little bit of a strategy in terms of I want to get Pokemon that are mid-speed tier with high attack power because I'm trying to get a Sticky Web user, and I'm also trying to get Trick Room users. And I want my opponents to come up to me in battle and not know if I'm going to be running a slow team with Trick Room or a fast mid-tier speed team with Sticky Webs, and I'm just going to stop them from removing hazards during the game. It just makes so that opponents they don't know what speeds to run their own Pokemon. If they run a really fast team and I brought the Trick Room mode, then that's trouble for them. I just want to keep people guessing. I want the game to start before the game even starts, if you know what I'm saying. So that's kind of my strategy going in, with no real if something doesn't go my way during the draft, that's not like a steadfast thing, but I definitely had that in mind going in. I wanted Trick Room and I wanted Sticky Webs. So sorry. Now getting into our first grab of the drafts, and we went with Victini. Victini is a Pokemon that I have never used before, but if you are wanting a versatile team, if you are wanting a versatile captain, you want Victini. Victini runs a million sets. It can be physically attacking, it can be specially attacking, it can be bulky, and it's also my Z captain, so it can also run really crazy Z sets, if you know what I'm talking about. Wink, wink. There's a certain Z set that I'm definitely going to try to use this season, but I'm also a trillion times happy just using like Inferno Overdrive and things like that. Victini is a really great Pokemon. I used Jirachi in Season 1, which is different, obviously, but those base 100 stats just make you can bring whatever set you want. It really, truly is such an asset. And Victini, I'm really excited that I was able to get it because it's just gonna keep people guessing all season, and that's exactly what I want. I wouldn't be surprised if I brought Victini to every single battle, because already testing with this team, Victini is always the Pokemon that I had the most fun prepping with. Going into round 2, I picked up Hoopa Unbound. Hoopa Unbound is another Pokemon that I've never really used, but I wanted it going into the draft. The weird thing about this draft is that I weirdly got like almost all of the Pokemon that I wanted going in, which is like a positive, but also like scary because nobody else was going after the Pokemon I wanted. So are they good? I don't know. I picked up Hoopa Unbound in my second round pick because it hits like a truck. It can be physical and special attacking as well. It's got a high special defense stat, even though you don't really run it bulky, but you can switch into special moves. But also, like, you can run it with a band, you can run it with a scarf, and it's got that really awesome Trick Room option, and it hits so hard in Trick Room. And that's something that I'm really excited about. That's something that I definitely want people to be scared of going into battle. I love its typing is really great. It's weak to U-turn, which is something that I just have to make sure that I draft something that can take a U-turn. But other than that, it really, and you can run it with the like the Bug Berry anyway, that'll absorb that. You can do that. I've seen it done before. So Hoopa Unbound is a Pokemon I'm really excited about. I think the fact that it gets Hyperspace Fury, and the fact that it gets Knockoff, and the fact that it gets it gets Drain Punch. It's a really cool Pokemon that I haven't gotten the chance to use, and I'm really looking forward to it this season. Now, my third pick is probably the first pick of the draft, but not the last pick, that I maybe drafted Pokemon before I needed to draft it. In my draft prep, I was looking for Galvantula to get the Sticky Webs. Obviously, it's the best Sticky Web user, in my opinion. I don't think that anybody would really dispute that. But I didn't get it. Somebody else picked up Galvantula before I could get it. So, I kind of panicked a little bit, and I went right for Slurpuff. Now, Slurpuff is a tier 4 Pokemon, and this is my third pick overall, but I really didn't want to get shut out of Sticky Webs. And you also have to keep in mind that I am running the draft as it's happening, so I don't have a ton of time to think about what my picks are going to be. I just have like a list of Pokemon that I want. I have like little notes next to each of them about like, oh, this one gets Sticky Webs, this one gets rocks, like whatever. Just try to check off things from the list, and Slurpuff, I just panicked and I grabbed it. Probably grabbed it way too early. That being said, we're not gonna cry over spilled milk. It is still an incredible Pokemon. I think it's tiered too low, to be perfectly honest. I think tier 4 is a little low for Slurpuff, especially now that it gets Sticky Webs. But that is our Sticky Web user, and obviously, it can run bulky. It can run like a defensive version of itself. But really, what makes it special is that Unburden ability. And being able to run the Belly Drum set, but also being able to run other versions of the Unburden set, maybe like a special version of it, like a Calm Mind. It's just, that Pokemon is really good. I think that I didn't need to get it that early, but I also think that it's tiered to, like I think the tier 4 is a steal in terms of where I think it actually should be placed. Next up, we grab Nidoqueen. Now, Nidoqueen's the opposite example. I think that Nidoqueen is probably tiered too high. I think that Nidoking is tier 3, but Nidoqueen is tier 2, and I'm assuming that's because Nidoking doesn't really have the option to be run defensive that Nidoqueen does. Nidoqueen can kind of go either way. It can go offensive or defensive. But what I'm looking at when I see Nidoqueen is definitely more of a support situation. Nidoqueen gets our Stealth Rocks, it gets our Toxic Spikes. And it also has Sheer Force, so my strategy with Nidoqueen is going to be to go in with like a bulky set that can hit hard, because with a Life Orb, I can throw Black Sludge on it to get, recovery back, or I can throw a Life Orb on it and just hit things hard as if I was an offensive nature, even though I am probably going to be running it bulky, perfectly honest. Yeah, that's the thing with Nidoqueen. Nidoqueen's another Pokemon that I like Nidoqueen. It's a Gen 1 that I have a really soft spot for, but I also just never really got to use it. And I think it's a good Pokemon. And you can run it Assault Vest. You can, if you don't need to get hazards up, you can run Nidoqueen Assault Vest, and that's really good too. Because it gets a crazy move pool. It gets almost the same move pool as Nidoking, if not the same move pool. They might have the same move pool. I'm not entirely sure, but I know that Nidoking's is insane, and so Nidoqueen's, I know, is also pretty crazy. And just so much access to those Sheer Force, the Sheer Force moves, the moves that Sheer Force is activated on. So, yeah, I am excited about having a Sheer Force user. And even if Nidoqueen maybe shouldn't be tier 2, doesn't matter to me. I still picked it up. Next, I grabbed our Mega. This is another Pokemon that I probably didn't need to grab as early as I did, especially because a lot of people had already drafted their Megas at this point, and when people draft their Megas in this format, that means there's just less people to draft Megas. So I think that this was definitely a case of, I was running the draft and, just sort of grabbed the next Pokemon on my list. Didn't think about the fact that I didn't need to grab it so early. Probably could have grabbed something else earlier, but like I said, I got a lot of the Pokemon I wanted anyway, so I don't even really know what I'm complaining about right now. But the Mega that I grabbed is Mega Blastoise. Going this far down in the draft and not having a Water type yet, and also Blastoise being one of only 3 Water types that I was looking at, I definitely wanted to make sure that I got a Water type. And Mega Blastoise in our format gets you points back, which I already needed to do because I'd grabbed another tier 1 in both Victini and Hoopa. So I need to get a little bit of points back, I think, just so I can make sure that I fit underneath the point. You might have no idea what I'm talking about right now, don't worry about it. I'm kind of just droning on at this point. But Blastoise, another big thing I wanted to have was a rapid spin user. Sorry, my chair is creaking. I wanted to definitely have a rapid spin user if I was going to be running a sticky web team. If you're running sticky webs and your only mode of hazard removal is defog, you're just like hoping that the other team's hazards aren't really bad for your team. And Victini, with Victini being like my main, like the Pokemon that I've already said I'm gonna run a lot this season, with it being weak to both Stealth Rocks and Spikes, I definitely wanted to make sure that I could get rid of hazards without getting rid of my sticky webs if I brought them. And so a spinner was necessary for that, and so I grabbed Mega Blastoise. Mega Blastoise's weakness obviously being that it doesn't have a very reliable mode of recovery, especially because it can't run leftovers. That being said, nobody really wants to switch into a Mega Blastoise either because it hits so hard with those Mega Launcher boosted moves. And it also kind of has like a weird move set, or a weird move pool, rather. So it also had that the first Pokemon I ever used in a Pokemon game in Pokemon Red was a Squirtle. I drafted it. I picked it from the lineup, and now I have a Blastoise on my team. I'm feeling good about that. So Mega Blastoise, excited to use it for sure. The next Pokemon I drafted is honestly a Pokemon that I have not had the chance to use very much, but man, oh man, do I love it. I used it in game, honestly, when I first played through Sun and Moon, and I just love this Pokemon's design so much. What pick is this? This is pick 6, I think. Yeah, round 6, the midpoint of the draft. I grabbed Zygarde 10%. Even though I'm running, the idea is to have like a mid-speed tier to be able to run Trick Room or still outspeed in Sticky Webs. I definitely wanted to have at least one Pokemon that was fast. And Zygarde 10% is fast. It's frail as all heck. But it hits so hard if you give it a choice band. Zygarde 10%, in my opinion, works a lot like Entei. I had Entei in Season 2 of Nebula. And what it does is you just throw a choice band on it, and nobody wants to switch into a Sacred Fire, and nobody wants to switch into a Sacred Fire. But then if you have it late game, you can just choice band extreme speed stuff. And boy oh boy, does Zygarde 10% do that well too. With the fact that 1,000 Arrows hits literally everything. It's a stab move, and then also it gets extreme speed. So. Wink, wink, other coaches who may be watching this in Nebula right now. Choice Band is going to be a definite go-to for my Zygarde 10%. That being said, it also gets Dragon Dance. So we can't count that out either. Zygarde 10%, yeah, I'm really excited to use that Pokemon. I think it's so dope looking. And yeah, I'm just excited. That was a great grab. Another Pokemon that, oh my gosh, I wanted to use this Pokemon so bad, and every single team that I made to prep for this draft had this Pokemon on it. And it's another Pokemon that I don't think has been used very, I don't want to see very well, but it hasn't been used to its fullest, capabilities, and that's Silvally. I grabbed Silvally in round 7. Silvally is a tier... What tier is Silvally in? Let's see. Silvally is tier 4. Which I think is insane, because in draft format, Silvally is everything you need. It's everything that you didn't grab during the draft. Once I got Silvally, I was like, okay. If I need to have a poison type to soak up toxic spikes, but I don't want to bring Nidoqueen, I got Silvally. If I need something to switch in or to stop Volt Turners and I want to throw a ground type on Silvally, I got Silvally. If another person has like a strong psychic type Pokemon, Silvally can be dark type. Silvally can be flying type to stop, like to switch in on earthquakes. Like, this Pokemon is it's like, if you're a prepper like I am, this Pokemon is so awesome. It's so much fun to use because there's just so many possibilities. And I mean, talk about versatile. Damn, I'm so excited to use Savali. And it's got 95 base stats everywhere, which isn't 100 base stats, but it's also got access to Parting Shot, and its move pool is really weird. It gets Thunderbolt, it gets Ice Beam, it gets some really great offensive moves too. It can go physical or special. I love it. I'm so excited to use Savali, and I think that it's way underappreciated. My 8th grab of the draft was another Pokemon that I was so excited to get, but another Pokemon that, like, what isn't tiered that high. It's another tier 4. And that's Trevenant. People sleep on how good Trevenant is. This Pokemon has definitely not been used to its fullest capabilities in this draft or any draft that I've ever seen. I'll be playing an OU with a Trevenant on my team, and teams won't know how to deal with it. I don't want to get into the specifics too much, because I think that would be giving away some of the sets that other coaches could potentially then prepare for. It'll all come out eventually. Within the first couple of weeks, I know that I'm going to run these sets. But man, Trevenant is so good, and it's especially bulky to pair nicely with my physical bulk of my Blastoise. It's also a Grass type, which I didn't have yet. It also gets a really good supportive move pool. The fact that it gets both Leech Seed and Will-O-Wisp is great. And it's also a spin blocker, which is something else I definitely wanted with my sticky web strategy. So Trevenant, I'm really excited about. I don't want to talk too much about it, but man, I am so excited to have Trevenant on my team. For my 9th pick, I picked up Lucario. It was purely like a typing pick. I didn't have a fighting type. I didn't have a steel type. I was looking at that Dragon Fairy Steel Core. It's Slurpuff, Zygarde 10%, and Lucario. I understand that's not the best Fairy Dragon Steel Core you've ever seen in your life, but it's also definitely a scary one. Like, you look at it and it's like, oh, all 3 of those Pokemon can do some serious damage to me if I'm not careful, and that's what I want. Lucario also it has 110 base attack and 115 base special attack, and it's pretty quick. It's 90 base speed, with access to like every boosting move you've ever heard of. It's got Swords Dance. It's got access to Swords Dance. It's got access to Nasty Plot. I think Agility too. I think it's got access to Agility. I might be crazy. Don't sue me, but I'm pretty sure it has access to Agility. But that's not even what matters, because the reason why I grabbed Lucario again was because it can be run slow if I do want to run that Trick Room option, but it doesn't matter, because even if I'm running a Trick Room team that's all slow, Lucario has the most insane move pool of priority moves that I think even exists in the entire game. Because it gets Mach Punch, it gets Bullet Punch, it gets Extreme Speed, and it gets Vacuum Wave. I think that's all of them, but that's insane. You could run an entire set of those 4 moves and not have to run an ounce of speed in your Pokemon. You wouldn't do that, but you could. Maybe I will. I'm not making any promises. Lucario is a cool Pokemon. I also I'm a fan of Lucario. It's a cool he's a cool dude, and he has another insane move pool. A lot of what I'm drafting is what I'm looking for in terms of versatility. Like, what am I gonna do? I don't even know what I want to do. It's kind of driving me crazy, the fact that I have so many options. So it's gotta drive other coaches crazy, and that's what I want. These next 2 picks were 2 picks that I did not prep for. I did not prep to grab these Pokemon, but I was looking for certain things. The first thing being that I did not have a flying type. I had Silvally, which, like I said, can work as a flying type if you need it, but I didn't have a flying type yet. So for my 10th grab, and I also needed another tier 3. Yeah, because I didn't have another tier 3 yet. I grabbed Tornadus Eye. Season 1 of Nebula, I had Torn T. I used it very well. I brought it to almost every single game. Now, Torn T obviously is better than Tornadus Eye in that it gets Regenerator, but they have similar move pools. Tornadus Eye has Prankster, which Torn T does not have. And Prankster is also just another incredible ability to offer support. Tornadus Eye also gets access to Prankster Defog, but it also gets access to Prankster Tailwind, which is just another option if Sticky Webs gets removed, or I want to run like a faux Trick Room team, but actually just pack Tailwind with Tornadus Eye, then I can do that. It gets Tailwind and it gets U-Turn, so you can Tailwind and U-Turn and then just be in on a bulky Pokemon that can take the hit and then just slam whatever's in front of it, or whatever wants to come in. Tornadus Eye, I wasn't expecting to draft it, but running teams with it, I've really been liking it a lot. And I'll also say that other teams, if I'm running Sticky Webs, are going to be trying to Rapid Spin them away, which I can block with Trevenant, or they're going to be trying to Defog. And it was in my mind that I might want to grab a Defiant user or a Competitive user, so that when I got Defogged, it would boost my own stats. It would lower my evasiveness, it would remove the hazards, but it would boost my stats. Bisharp was on my list to do that. Somebody grabbed Bisharp. Obviously, Bisharp's going to go before this late in the draft. But other than Prankster, Tornadus Eye does also get Defiant, which will raise its attack stats if it needs to, which is also just it's an option. It's not the most usable option. It's not an option that I'm going to run a lot, but it's something that I can bring if I want to, and it's something that I want other coaches to be scared of. My last pick, I have mixed emotions about, but I didn't have an electric type. I didn't have a Volt Turner, and I wanted one. In years past, I've used Rotom Frost. Man, do I love Rotom Frost. I think that Rotom Wash is obviously the best Rotom, but I think that Rotom Frost, honest to God, Rotom Frost, in my book, is the second best Rotom. We're not here to talk about Rotom Frost, but I just want it to be known that fridge is better than the oven. It's better than the lawnmower. It's obviously better than the fan. Flying type, levitate. Are you kidding me? Ridiculous. So stupid. But the fridge is so good. Sorry. I knew that because of that, I knew that I needed a Volt Turner. And I picked up Raichu. I don't really use Raichu. Just regular Raichu too, by the way. Not a Alolan Raichu. Kind of a strange pick, to be honest. I'm not crazy excited about it. That being said, it does weird things, which I kind of like. It's also my other Z Captain because I picked Victini. The only Pokemon that I could make a Z Captain was a Tier 5, and Raichu's my only Tier 5, so I made Raichu my Z Captain, and it has a weird move pool. It's again, like, that's the thing that I'm excited about. I think that there were other better electric types that I could have picked up, and part of me honestly kind of wishes I grabbed Pikachu instead of Raichu. But that being said, Raichu's faster than Pikachu. It runs Z moves better than Pikachu, even though Pikachu gets access to those crazy Z moves. Raichu can still use them better because it will survive. It'll go faster at least than the other person's attack, which Pikachu might not. And Raichu again, like, it gets access to Fake Out, it gets access to Extreme Speed, it gets access to Nuzzle. It has two great abilities in Lightning Rod and Static. If you run it with a Focus Sash, you can really mess people up by running Static and getting lucky. I don't know if Static got buffed in recent generations, but it definitely feels that way. Like, it definitely feels like when you touch a Pokemon with Static now, like, you're getting paralyzed no matter what. That's not true, obviously, but it can feel that way. Yeah, and Raichu also, it gets access to, like, weird things like Surf. It gets access to Nasty Plot. And like I said, it can Volt Turn around. So even though it doesn't have the best attack stat, it's only got 90 base attack and 90 base special attack. And boy, oh boy, are those defense stats abysmal. It's an electric type. It's a Volt Turner, and it's supposed to not get touched while you outspeed Pokemon and just sort of Volt Switch around. It's there for momentum, not necessarily for damage, which I like about it. And it's also my third fastest Pokemon on the team. So that was, I think, honestly, I'm not crazy about the pick, but I'm not mad about the pick either. We'll see how it works, and maybe I'll be pleasantly surprised. It's happened in the past. Anyway. that's it for my team. All 11 Pokemon right here. The Central Park Sceptiles are ready to take another season of NEBLA, the Northeastern Battle League of America, and I'm excited. I haven't used really any of these Pokemon before, besides in prep for this season, so I am nervous, but I'm also so excited. We are in the Nerve Division, which is the mascot for the Nerve Division is Victini, and we have Victini. I think that's a good omen. And I feel like with the strategy of drafting like mid-speed tier Pokemon, getting the webs, getting the Trick Room users, I think that we sort of executed. I think we executed the draft strategy, which I'm really excited about. So, yeah, I have complaints, but I can't complain, if that makes sense. If you're watching this, if you're a person who actually is watching this, and you have comments to say about my team, things you like, because there's definitely things I like, things you don't like, because there's definitely things I don't like about this team, let me know in the comments. Sorry, that still feels so weird to say. I'm not a YouTuber. I'm trying, though. I'm trying. My brother's going to make fun of me so much. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Look out for these videos because I have a battle every single week for the next 12 weeks. So once a week, a video is going to be going up of like a real short team builder in the front, followed by however long the showdown battle lasts. With this team, I don't have a ton of recovery. It is a hyper offensive team. I'm not expecting battles to last very long. Whether that's good for me or whether that's bad for me, I'm not expecting battles to last very long this season. And if you're a NEBLA coach watching this, keep that in mind, okay? Battles are not going to be lasting long against the Sceptiles this season. You heard me. Yeah, I'm talking to you. Thank you guys so much for watching this. I really appreciate it. Tom appreciates it greatly. He tells me every single night. Man, that YouTube community, they are supportive. So I really appreciate it, and I'll see you guys the next time I upload one of these videos. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Like, comment, subscribe. Almost forgot.